Hey folks, Tux Martini here. Welcome to another edition of Talking with Tux After Hours. Now tonight's subject is Nintendo. By now we've all heard of the loss of Satoru Iwata. Very, very sad loss, and my heart goes out to his family and friends, as well as Nintendo. Yes, there's a time for mourning, but there's also the time for reflection and moving on. No one can replace Iwata, most definitely. And while they can improve upon his legacy, for the next head of Nintendo, I'd like to see him make his own. I mean, a lot of fans will tell you, and the company as well will tell the next guy, what to do and how to do things, how he should run it. But he should forge his own trail. Also, while staying true to, Iwata's legacy, but make it his own. Now, before the fanboys come knocking down my door with torches and pitchforks, my question to them is, how would they want to be remembered? And that's a question for their children as well, how would they want to be remembered? Do they want to be, known as, oh, I'm so-and-so's son, or I'm actually so-and-so, if I ever had kids, I'd want them to say, rather than being Tux Martini's son and or daughter, it's I want them to be known for their own, unique traits and abilities. I mean, it would be cool. Hey, there's the kid of Tux Martini, but it's hey, there's that kid, That's all I'm saying. Now, Nintendo, you've got a lot of hard work ahead, a long road, especially the new guy. So, my advice to the new guy: go for broke. Do what you think is right. Don't just cater, to the shareholders. Listen to the fans and blaze your own trail. You can be that one guy in history. He turned that thing around, if you all read Game Informer, which I do, and I think that's the gaming magazine of Reckon, they did their annual E3 review, and Nintendo got a less than stellar score for the third year running. Now, granted, in their article they said Nintendo, it wasn't a complete disaster, but for me, anything below a B is kind of disastrous. I mean, Sony and Microsoft fared better, but it was not by much. I mean, I think they both got B's or something like that. I mean, last year, Nintendo got an incomplete at E3, which was horrifying, and that's horrifying for anyone. However, now is a pivotal time for Nintendo. It can go further down south, or it can, bring itself upward. I mean, alone, just to quote, Game Informer, no, or hardly any third-party support, and Zelda Wii U was missing in action. As I said, it's not disastrous, but it could have gone a lot better, so I honestly think they need to work their way from the ground up. My personal, opinion is that they should start porting games to the States. I mean, there are a lot of great games that never made it to our shores, and rightfully they should. I mean, even remaster some of the old ones. I mean, Sony is bringing J-Stars to the PSP, or the PSP Vita. That's a great move. If Nintendo had the mind, they should have done it first, Also, if you're not gonna port the games, at least take off the borders restriction, man. That's what made the DS great. You could play Japanese titles, and it was awesome. Sure, it took a lot of work in translation, for us fans to do, but it was still great. And my thanks go to the people who actually made translations and guides for it. You guys are awesome. Cheers. Anyway. Also, for Nintendo. Listen to more of the fans. I mean, you do that in a scale, but Metroid Prime Force Federation, the Metroid game where Samus is MIA, come on, that's got to be a joke, right? I mean, they wouldn't in their right mind do that. And while I'm looking forward to Star Fox Zero a little bit, it's like you can do so much more. Nintendo has that potential, and so does the new president, whoever he may be. Is for right now he's been unannounced, to my knowledge, that is. But go forth and conquer. Make Nintendo your own. Leave your own mark. Don't just resign yourself to being in Iwata's shadow. I mean, Iwata's a great man. Like I said, no one can replace him. So, going with that line, no one can replace Iwata. We can't have Iwata Part 2, or Iwata Mach 2, It's like, you can make your own stamp. You can take Nintendo into a great direction. For me personally as well, I'd like to see more love for the handheld. Like, first off, it's utter BS that you're releasing titles solely for the new 3DS. I mean, sure, its hardware is advanced, but it's not that advanced. And making it, automatically XL. Call me crazy, but I'm not a fan of the XL series. I like the fact that, my 3DS can fit into my pocket without, making a conspicuous dent or mark. I mean, that's kind of foreshadowing in my mind, like, that's all it's going to be. They're going to phase out the 3DS entirely and make it just new 3DS. And then they're going to screw us even more and make a newer 3DS, Where does it end? So, more handheld love. I know it's, somewhat difficult to make long games for the handheld, but I think you can do it. Just make longer games. Remaster a few, Like, offhand, Final Fantasy. They're doing Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is awesome. It's amazing. I've been waiting years for this. And I've just, recently got into loving, like, really, really loving RPGs. So, like, I've become, like, a total RPG nut. It's funny, a few years back, I hated RPGs. I would not give them the time of day. And then someone got me hooked, and it's like, RPGs, this ain't bad. Let me play more. And I've got, like, half a dozen RPG titles at the very least. And I'm always on the browse for more. So, I would like to see the Final Fantasy series remade, like the first, 4 remade for the 3DS. Watch, they're probably going to give me what I want, but make it for the new 3DS. And then I'm like, And I don't know about you, but that seems like a theme with Nintendo. They'll give you what you want, but there's going to be a price to it. And I bet you're saying to yourselves, yeah, I know that you can all mention, X game or X system, of them giving you what you want, but completely screwing you at the same time. So, next point of advice to Nintendo, please stop screwing the fans. You can do better than that, really. I mean, also show third-party support, as mentioned in the Game Informer article. Like, give us more, and not just crank out quantity, but give us quality. Be innovative. I mean, I know Nintendo's partnering with DNA, which is a step in the right direction. But my question to Nintendo is, are you going to settle for, it's good enough? Or are you going to go, it can be better? Like, it's just applicable to life in general. Like, are you going to say, it's good enough, I did it, but, very few people go and take that extra step to make it the best that they possibly could. Like, I'm guilty of it from time to time, Yeah, it's good enough, or, like, at work, like, don't tell my bosses, but it's like, yeah, it's good enough, I did my best, I'm not going to crank out that extra effort, which I should, but, I'm saying everyone's guilty of that, but it takes that rare breed of person to say, it is good enough, but I can make it better, So, that's my next piece of advice. Also, what else? Going into this, I had, points in mind. I should have written them down. But, I'm winging it, kind of. Hey, what do you expect? It's the weekend. It's the time where I loosen the proverbial tie. Yes, proverbial. That's a word. The proverbial tie and lose my pants. Pants are constricting, man. Pants are the devil. But anyway, that's good stuff. So we covered Nintendo talking about border-free porting games, don't screw the fans, innovate more, you know. Also, since you're partnering with DNA, make more partnerships. I mean, there are a lot of game companies out there. Also, indies too. Partner up with more indies. You've done The Binding of Isaac, which is amazing, you know, that you did that. So keep going. Partner with more indies. Like, Microsoft was once the go-to for indie developers. And we've seen a slight decline, well, more than a slight decline, so you can jump on that. You can be the new mecca to the indies, you know, and that would bring you so much money and so much notoriety. You could, you know, take over the world with that kind of, you know, forward-thinking momentum, you know. So, yeah, cater to the indies. And I know you're catering to the fans, but do more so. Like, have more events. Like, for the last 2 Christmases at the mall in my hometown, like, Nintendo's had, like, a booth, you know, where they have, like, Mario and, you know, a bunch of demo games, you know. I like that kind of thinking. I like that marketing. It gets me to stop at the mall, because I freaking hate the mall, dude. I really do. Like, I can't understand how people like it, but, you know, hey, at least I don't work there. But anyway, I don't like the mall. But that gets me down to the mall. I say, oh my god, Nintendo's having an event there. Dude, I gotta go do this. You know, and they did that at Best Buy for Smash Brothers. I mean, I waited 7 hours in line to play 2-3 minutes worth of Smash Brothers. And it was worth it. I would do it again, you know. I really would. But that's the kind of thing you gotta jump on, Nintendo. Like, make more fan events. Like, more events in general. I mean, I don't know if they have an office in California, but think about opening an office in California if you haven't already, and make it accessible to the public. Like, give us tours and stuff. Don't you? You have one in New York, but yeah, come to the West Coast, California. It's always sunny here. So yeah, just make it more accessible. You know, or have even a page or something where, you know, I think you have that in some small degree with the Wii U. Like, have a page for the fans, you know, or like connect with us more. That's one of the things, like, I pride myself on, is I love making connections. You know, that's actually part of my mission statement, to have fun, connect with people, and bring in first-class entertainment. So make that connection. Like, trust me, a connection can go a long way, even if it's, you know, seemingly innocuous or small. I mean, you never know what can come of it, you know. And speaking of which, you know, I connected with a person the other day. Give you a shout out, my friend. Hey, Cyril. Like, I met him the other day at work, and I made a connection with him, and boy, I'm glad I did. It started with something stupid. He noticed my name tag had a Naruto reference, and from then, it just spinned off into a great friendship, you know. So yeah, Nintendo, make friends, make connections, be more personable, you know. Like, be the innovator in that. Be the company that say, hey, I'm gonna go out and, you know, talk to the everyman. Like, I'm gonna make that effort, you know, to make that one connection with that one person, you know. Like, even if it's just with someone, like, completely random. They met him, shook their hands, got some advice. Like, hey, I'm gonna listen to this guy. He had a good point, you know. I mean, I think that's what it is all about in, you know, any type of industry. Is it runs on connections, you know, schmoozing with people. So yeah, connect with the people, my friends. Connect. I mean, personally, what I wouldn't love to have a half hour with whoever's running Nintendo is, like, I wouldn't go on a rant, but I would just make, you know, every ludicrous demand ever, like a normal fan would do. Like, you know, hey, get talking with Capcom, Mega Man Legends 3. You want to do that. And if, you know, Capcom / Nintendo is watching, you know, please, I will give you my kidney, legit my left kidney, if you bring back Mega Man Legends 3. Also, can I have a grant? While I'm making ludicrous demands, can you give me a grant to film and make better shows, please? Anyway, so, yeah, that's what I would say. Other than that, the world is Nintendo's oyster right now. If they play their cards right. But anyway, if they play their cards right, they can have everyone in their back pocket. They can have the world. They could conquer the world. Make it Nintendo Land. Also, I saw the trailer for Earthbound Beginnings, and I'm like, that's good, but you could make it better? Like 3D, HD? I mean, you're doing HD, but you can revamp the graphics. Don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of classic games, but I suppose it's like the black and white issue. Like, when you're a kid, black and white movies suck. You don't want to see them. I was slightly different in the fact that I liked some of them, but it's like after going to, like, colors, like, why would I want black and white? Like, when I was a kid, when everyone was a kid, the NES, the Genesis was freaking amazing, man. Sonic and Blast processing. Not to get too far off topic, but, those graphics were amazing, and you show that to a kid today, they'll laugh in your face. We're in the era of high technology and high definition, so not that there isn't that niche for, like, classic-looking games and classic games itself, but, totally revamp them to the max. Like, I'll always have that heart of nostalgia, and I'll always like 8 and 16-bit, 32-bit. But, not that I've gotten over it, but I mean, as anyone, my tastes have evolved, and, like, I really like stuff that's, like, bright, colorful, and HD, 3D, and all that good jazz and nonsense. I seem to be contradicting myself, I know, but it's like, I have a want for a type of game, and most times I'll go for the one that looks pretty. I mean, at one point I had like $100 on my 3DS eShop. I just went on a spending spree, and most of what I got was based solely on looks. You know what they say, you eat with your eyes first, so like... And now I was lucky that I uncovered a lot of gems, But yeah, games that look pretty, like, make them look pretty, make them look good. You've got the 3DS, you can do so much technology with that, And, I know this is primarily about Nintendo, but Sega, which you are technically kind of partnered with Nintendo, sort of, re-release Sonic Jam. Like, yeah, I never got to play that game, and I thought, oh man, it blew my mind at the time when I saw it. I was like, and unfortunately I never got a Saturn sniffle, but, yeah, revamp Sonic Jam. Give us a good Sonic game. Nintendo, you can help with that, but seriously, Sonic Boom, what was that? And, yeah. Unfortunately, I don't acknowledge Sonic Boom. That's one of the few times I will, so. And you've got Freedom Planet coming out, for Nintendo on the eShop, and I believe multiple other systems, and that is, you look me in the eye and tell me that's not Sonic. I mean, it's gotten to the point where spiritual successors or homages are better than the actual games. The original ones, like, I don't know how to feel about it. I feel primarily negative, but at least someone's giving me the fan service about it, so it's like, well, not technically Sonic, but Sonic-ish game, so... And this is just a call to, like, developers and companies everywhere. If you want, income and increase in sales, like, go back to your roots. And I covered this in one of my earlier videos on video games. Like, yeah, go back to your roots. I mean, we have our roots for a reason. We can learn from them and take away, like, from both our mistakes and our good, or we can completely ignore them, which seems to be a common theme these days. Like, go back to them. What made you great? Like, Nintendo, ask yourself, what made you great? What was the one thing that you did that made you great? Or the things that made you great is not just one thing. Like, what made you great? Ask yourself that. And when you find the answer, see how you can apply it. Like, oh, this is what made us great. This is what we did good. build upon it and make your own mark. Like I'm saying, that's a common theme. So yeah, that's my advice. Well, it's getting late and I've expended the rest of my energy on this video. Hopefully it was good. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for letting me go on my rant. And again, no offense to Iwata's friends and families. I mean, he's a great man. I'm just saying, you know, to the next guy, make your mark. But again, no offense intended, and my condolences. Well, folks, it's about time for me to hit that dusty trail. My parting thoughts, you know, for Nintendo and everyone else is like, move forward, go in a new direction, take chances. Like Miss Frizz said in the Magic School Bus, you know, take chances, get messy. Speaking of the Magic School Bus, that is a clear case of child endangerment. Why was she not arrested? Like, ever think of that? Like, she took them to planets and she shrunk them and did all sorts of wacky stuff. I mean, now that I look back on it, I think she was a crackhead. I mean, look at that hair alone, you know. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so to every video game developer out there, make your own mark, move forward. You know, don't just go with the trend, make one. Alright, good night folks, I'm out. Good night and God bless. Tip your waitresses. Cheers.